Hi everyone, welcome back to Lilac Oaks Farm. I am Renee, and this week on the farm we are talking about anything duck. Whether it's tips on keeping the ducks warm in the winter or some fun attributes that these ducks have to keep themselves warm. I will leave some links in the description box below where I found this info, and that way you can research it too if you would like on your own. So without further ado, let's go dive in. What makes ducks great for winter is they have several attributes that are wonderful, but they have an extra layer of fat, down feathers, and they have this wonderful thing called an oil gland on their tail. So with those three things combined, plus there's one more we'll get to later, that makes them a true winter hardy. They can handle cold temps. Negatives, it's a little iffy. Here it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit before they really need to go in and get some warmth, but that's what makes them truly wonderful. You got that down feathers that keeps them warm, that extra layer of fat, that's another layer of protection, and then you add that preen gland, which they spread that oil all the way around their feathers, makes them waterproof, and then they puff up. You'll see them puff up and they get all puffy. That also helps because there's warm air in there, and that keeps them warm too. Here's the last attribute. I have it on paper because I'm not going to be able to say it correctly the way I want to say it, and I don't want to screw it up. They have what's called natural antifreeze. Ducks have a counter current heat exchange system in their legs, which means the warm blood flowing from the heart to the feet passes close to the cold blood returning from the feet to the body. This is where the heat is transferred from the arterial blood to the venous blood, however, and the feet receive the blood that is slightly above the freezing point. This prevents the body loss of heat and the risk of frostbite. This is why the ducks can swim in their icy water without any problems to the circulation, because it minimizes the heat loss. We can't do that, they can, and that makes them another wonderful animal to have in wherever you have snow and ice. Another thing that I like to do for my ducks in the winter is food. I like to give them, they have what's called a grower finisher, and it is 16% protein, but it's higher in fat. And the ducks need a little more fat than the chickens do. And it's very hard to find waterfowl food, and if you do, it is super expensive. So near us, where we live, we have Pooling Grain, and they have a wonderful grower finisher. So I use that, but I mix it in the winter with a higher protein layer food. So we're using an all-flock that's 20%. I like to between 18 and 20, and it's only for winter, and it all depends on how long the winter is where you're at. For us, it feels like it's never ending. It feels like we're almost skipping the fall and spring now, and we're just having winter and summer. That's what it feels like for here, but I don't know where it is for you guys. We do give them extra snackies, as in, like I am the snack lady. So we do the mealworms, which are great, and we do other things. My ducks are not big on peanuts. You can give them peanuts crushed, not the shell. You're gonna do shell, you can give that to the chickens. They like that. My ducks were meh to the peanuts. It does take a duck a while when you introduce new food for them to even touch it. Like I did one year, the alfalfa or the orchard grass, the little pellets you can get. They will eat those, but it'll take a while, and some might like them and some might not. So it all depends. Like mine do not like oats. So if I get any kind of scratch grain, because I like to ferment those with oats in it, they won't eat it. And mine won't even eat peas. And I keep hearing it, oh, mine love peas. Not mine. I have some special babies. They don't know. But that is something you could do if you're wondering how to feed them, if it feels like they're just constantly eating, because they are, that's all they do, but they're just not, it's like they're not satisfied, if you know what I mean. But that's what I do. I've seen that it helps. I don't have to fill their dish every day like I used to. So that means it's a little bit more in their tummy, and it's taking a while to break down. Now, the water is a different story. Some of you might know that have ducks or would like to know more about ducks. They need water, and they cannot go more than 8 hours without water. They need that for their nasal passages, and they need it for their eyes because they have several eyelids and they need to be wet. But we have some that can't have, they don't, in the hoop houses, there's no way there's no power to them. So what we've done is just use a bucket and a mallet, and they make sure they got fresh water before bed, and we just get up in the morning and break it. Some people, you can use the dog bowls, but we did try that. I do have one. Found out that I would need to refill it constantly. There is a thing called heated buckets. Now, we use buckets to give them water, so that way they can't make a huge mess in their room. If you have a place where you want to heat and you can put heated bucket in, you can use that. We don't. You can also do a couple more things. You can put ping pongs in the water, and of course I'm scared because my ducks might try to eat them because I've got rocks in my buckets before from them. So I'm kind of scared with the ping pong. I know they're a little bigger. I haven't tried it yet. I might have to experiment on one of these videos with ping pongs. And then you can also put a 1/4 cup of salt in like a water bottle, and you can put that in their water, and it's basically like a little bobber, and so it'll bob up and down, and that will help. It'll freeze, but won't freeze as fast, and the ducks will be able to get some water. I think we tried it one year, and that year was so cold it just froze on us. But there's some suggestions if you're wondering what you can do for your birds that don't require heat. Or electricity, I should say. Ours don't even have heat. What are we kidding me? So what we do here on our farm is, if you've watched us long enough, you know we use hoop houses for several of our ducks. We have a layer of Tyvek, a tarp, and then for the winter we use black plastic, and then we use, which is 4 to 6 mil, depends on what I can get my hands on. This year I'm trying clear plastic on the front. I had like greenhouse plastic last year, because it was very hard to get a lot of the plastic. So this year I finally managed to get clear plastic. As you can see, the houses are all done. We finally got that in. This will probably be one of our last years using the hoop houses. Next year I'm going to go forward. I'm going to be able to build some wooden houses, because that is what I really want. I'm getting older. The hoop houses, we have to turn them. So you have to turn them with the wind. So in the winter, you want them facing north to south. And in the summer, you want them east to west because of the wind, and it keeps them cooler. And it's just a little too much. Like I said, I'm getting older. I've said it before, we live in the Northeast, so I need to deep bed. I know there's some people out there that don't like deep bedding, but everything freezes here. So if you don't know what deep bedding is, that means you start out with about 3 to 6 inches on the ground of either straw or pine shavings or wood chips, whatever you want to start with. And then you just, as they soil and everything, you start adding more and more every few days. We add, it depends on how many birds there are in each coop. So there's only 3 in here, so I only have to come through maybe once a week. It depends on where they are laying, pooping the most. So I might sometimes do 2. If we are at my Pewter's house, which everybody decided that this year they all want to be at Pewter's, and I have to do that one now like every other day. He's got a really big hoop house. It was supposed to be for several birds, and then we end up losing a lot of them to there was mushrooms. We had one year, it was really wet, heavy, a lot of mushrooms. I ended up losing several to the mushrooms. Hawk pressure was relentless. I have a pig trying to break stuff again. This year, Ace decided that he's going to go hang out with Pewter and all the girls. Everybody's hanging out. So his I have to do literally every other day, because he has younger ducks in there and they still like to play with water. And even though they have buckets, there's water everywhere. But you just want to make sure that they're well protected. There's no wind, and they have a good ventilation, because that moisture, you don't want it to get to their lungs. You want it to go up and out, because they can still get respiratory sickness, and you don't want that. And with this one where we're at, it has sandbags in front of this one, and there's one behind it that has sandbags. We're kind of at a slant, so I need to put sandbags around so the water, when it you know, thaws or rains and all that stuff, it'll just go around, because last year it was just like a flood went through these two, because we got like 3 feet of snow again. So when it melts, it's just like a freaking a monsoon here. So with that, for right, helps protect that. Just something to think about too, about how you want your ducks. Are they in the barn? Are they in a house? Are they up? Because my ducks don't like ramps. So just something to think about. On to the next. And for my last tip, suggestion, whatever you would like to call it, I am putting up clear plastic again, just like I did in the last video, because sometimes we do get deep snow and they only come out just to their out, just literally just outside their house, because I don't keep all of my ducks together. They have separate housing due to breeding, and I do have different breeds. So with that all being said, let's go put up some clear plastic for the bricks. I have a rope under here, so I'm going to clamp this later, attach it to the rope, that way it don't go anywhere. And down here, when I cut it, I'm going to put sandbags up against the plastic at the bottom, so that way it's in place because of the wind. Oh my word. Best thing in the world is these things when you're by yourself. Alright, so like I said, I need left is just to cut the bottom off. Put some, you see my rope now. My rope is there. My sandbags, what I have for right now that I can get out, is because everything is absolutely frozen still. I know I didn't want to cut that bottom off. I kind of just rolled it up because it's going to get snow and ice, and it'll hold that in place. So I just need to find my clamps, so that way I can clamp up top, and that will hold that in position. I don't know if I actually need to put rope on this side too to kind of help. I'll know probably in a little bit. We're supposed to get some snow later, and I'll find out then. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week and weekend. And as always, I will see you in the next one.